Have you ever wondered why those who carry the deepest wisdom often carry the deepest wounds? Why those who are destined to elevate the world are the very ones who seem to be crushed by it? I want you to imagine a person standing in the cold silence of the Himalayas, snow falling around them, eyes closed in meditation. This is not just a metaphor, it's a vision of the soul's journey. Alone, stripped of all comfort, the individual is not seeking peace, they are seeking truth. And truth rarely comes wrapped inside comfort. Truth comes through fire, and the ones who are chosen to carry it must be willing to be burned. Suffering, contrary to what we've been told, is not punishment. It is preparation. When you are chosen, you are not selected because of your perfection, you are chosen because of your capacity to endure, to transform, to rise beyond human limitation. The world teaches us to chase comfort, but comfort is the enemy of growth. The chosen ones are not here to be comfortable, they are here to be catalysts. That means being broken, being misunderstood, being cast out. But it also means becoming a beacon of light that cannot be extinguished. When you walk into a room and feel like you don't belong, when your thoughts and feelings seem too deep for the people around you, that is not a defect, it is a sign. You perceive more because you were designed to carry more. Your energy is wired differently. You are not here to fit in. You are here to wake others up with your very presence. But awakening others requires that you first awaken yourself. But that journey is not gentle. It drags you through the mud of your own illusions, through the grief of letting go of who you thought you were. It strips you of your coping mechanisms, your distractions, your ego. But it doesn't ask for your permission. It demands your surrender. This is why chosen ones suffer. Because we are not just living a life, we are undergoing a transformation. Everything that has ever hurt you, everything that has ever broken you, has been part of this process. And I know what you're thinking. Why me? Why this much pain? But what if I told you that your pain is your initiation? That the heartbreaks you've endured, the betrayals you've survived, the nights you thought you wouldn't make it through, what if all of that was not a detour, but the path itself? There is a sacred order to your suffering. It is not random. The universe doesn't waste pain. It delivers it with precision to those who can transmute it into gold. You are not being punished, you are being prepared. Your soul chose this. Before you were born, you agreed to this. You said yes to a mission that would require you to remember your power through loss. You said yes to walking through darkness so that you could become a light. And even now, as you hear these words, something in you knows this to be true. Something in you remembers. The loneliness you felt, the sense of being different, of not belonging, it's all part of the awakening. The world rejected you because the world is asleep. Your presence threatens its illusions. That's why you've been pushed away, minimized, silenced. But don't confuse rejection with unworthiness. You are not here to be validated. You are here to become.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
The world cannot recognize what it has never seen before. You were not made in its image. You were made in the image of something far more ancient, far more powerful. That's why your journey has been so difficult. Because you are not just healing for yourself, you are healing for generations. You are breaking ancestral cycles. You are clearing karmic debts. You are rewriting the narrative of your lineage. That kind of work is not glamorous. It hurts. It isolates. It demands everything. But it also liberates. And in your liberation, others will find their own. The hidden truth about why chosen ones suffer is that our suffering is not just for us. It's for the collective. It's for the world we are here to rebuild. And yes, I said rebuild, because this world is broken. Not in the way mainstream media tells you, but in a much deeper spiritual sense. It is disconnected from its source. It has forgotten its purpose, and so it clings to illusions, money, power, fame, while the soul starves. You, however, were born to starve the illusion and feed the soul. But before you can do that for others, you must do it for yourself. That's why everything that's false in your life is falling apart. That's why the relationships that once felt safe now feel suffocating. That's why the job you once tolerated now feels like death. It's not because you're ungrateful. It's because your soul will no longer allow you to live in lies. Suffering is the soul's alarm clock. It wakes you up when you've been asleep too long. And once you awaken, you can never go back. The world will try to pull you back in. It will tempt you with comfort, with approval, with distractions. But none of it will satisfy you anymore. Because once you've tasted truth, you cannot untaste it. And here is the paradox. The more awake you become, the more pain you see. You see the suffering in others. You feel the collective grief of a world lost in illusion. But you also begin to feel something else, your purpose. And that purpose becomes your anchor. It becomes the reason you keep going, even when everything falls apart. You realize that your suffering has not been in vain. It has been your teacher, your guide, your compass. It has carved you into a vessel that can hold truth, love, and light. You begin to see that your wounds are not just wounds, they are portals. They are sacred entry points through which the divine communicates with you. They have made you who you are. So let me ask you something. Are you willing to see your pain as sacred? Are you willing to sit with it, to learn from it, to let it shape you into the person you were born to be? Because the moment you stop resisting your suffering, the moment you stop labeling it as wrong, that is the moment it begins to transform. That is the moment you reclaim your power. We are taught to fear pain, to numb it, to avoid it. But pain is not the enemy. Avoidance is. When you lean into the pain, when you let it speak, it reveals truths that comfort never could. It shows you where you've been hiding. It shows you what needs healing. It shows you who you really are. And who are you? You are a soul on fire. You are a warrior of light. You are a mirror for others to see their own divinity. You are the living proof that pain can be turned into power, that darkness can be turned into devotion, that suffering can be turned into service. You are not here to escape this world, you are here to transform it. And that transformation begins within. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to be real, to be raw, to be willing to go deeper, be willing to face yourself, willing to trust that everything you've endured has meaning, willing to believe that you were chosen for a reason. And let me tell you, there is no greater honor than being chosen to awaken. It means the universe saw something in you, something strong, something fierce, something eternal. You are not just another human being navigating a meaningless existence. You are a soul on a mission. You are a light in the dark. You are a divine disruption to the status quo. And yes, it will hurt. Yes, you will want to give up. but you won't, because something in you knows that this pain is not the end. It is the beginning. It is the fire that will forge you. It is the storm that will cleanse you. It is the pressure that will reveal your diamond. So breathe, remember, and ask yourself the question that will change everything. What if your suffering is not the evidence that you are broken, but the evidence that you are being rebuilt? What if, underneath all the pain, all the fear, all the loss, is the truth of who you really are: powerful, radiant, unstoppable? Let that truth rise. Let it burn away the lies. Let it awaken the chosen one within you. When we begin to accept suffering as sacred, something inside of us shifts. It's not that the pain disappears, but the meaning around it transforms. What once felt like punishment begins to feel like purification. But let's go deeper. Why is it that chosen ones are not just asked to endure hardship, but are often given lives filled with contrast, light and dark, joy and deep sorrow, the divine connection and unbearable loneliness, all in extreme degrees? The answer is multidimensional, and it begins with this truth: contrast is the canvas for awakening. Without darkness, light cannot be recognized. Without loss, gratitude remains theoretical. Without suffering, compassion remains shallow. The chosen ones are initiated through these extremes so that we may carry a wisdom that is embodied, not just intellectual. We are not here to speak about love, we are here to become love. And to become love, every part of us that is not love must first be burned away. This is why your life may have felt like a series of destructions: relationships falling apart, careers collapsing, betrayals by people you trusted, health challenges that seem to come from nowhere, a constant feeling of not belonging, of being too much and not enough simultaneously. These are not random occurrences. They are sacred initiations. Each loss you've experienced has carved space for a deeper version of you to emerge. But each heartbreak has cracked open your heart to let more light in. Each time you've been abandoned, it has been the universe lovingly pushing you back toward yourself. We don't find our power in the applause of others, we find it in the silence of our own becoming. But here's the hidden layer of truth. The suffering of chosen ones is also deeply tied to the collective unconscious. You are not only processing your own pain, you are often processing the pain of your lineage, your ancestors, your community, even the planet. You are a transmuter of frequency, a vessel through which dense energies are alchemized into light. That's not just poetic, it's energetic reality. Empaths, healers, lightworkers, prophets, visionaries, we feel more because we are meant to feel more. We are wired to pick up on the subtle, the unseen, the unspoken. And in doing so, we carry what others cannot. This is why your nervous system sometimes feels overloaded, why your body aches with no explanation, why you feel exhausted after being in crowds. You are not weak, you are sensitive, and your sensitivity is a divine tool. But like any powerful tool, it must be honored, refined, and protected. The world does not teach us how to protect our energy. It teaches us to harden, to numb, to perform. But chosen ones must learn a different way. We must learn the way of energetic sovereignty. That means knowing when to say no, knowing when to walk away, knowing that boundaries are not walls, they are sacred containers for our light. You are not here to save everyone. You are not here to carry the world on your back. You are here to embody truth so powerfully that your very presence becomes permission for others to do the same. But that can only happen if you take care of yourself. if you honor the vessel, if you stop pouring from an empty cup. So I ask you, are you willing to stop betraying yourself in the name of being light? Are you willing to stop shrinking so others can feel comfortable? Are you willing to stop abandoning your own needs in the illusion of spiritual nobility? Because true service begins with self-respect. You cannot lead others to their light while denying your own. This is a lesson many chosen ones learn the hard way. We give and give until there's nothing left. We collapse, we break, and in that breaking we finally hear the whisper, "You matter too." Your healing matters, your joy matters, your peace matters. Your suffering is not a badge of honor. It is a signal, a call to return to yourself. Let's go even deeper. The suffering of chosen ones is often amplified because we operate under a different karmic equation. We are not only clearing our own karma, we are resolving collective and ancestral patterns. We are here to end cycles, not just endure them. That's why your parents may not understand you, why your family may resist your path, why your community may reject your truth. You are the interruption. You are the one who said, "It ends with me." And that declaration carries a cost. You will lose people. You will lose versions of yourself. You will lose illusions that once gave you comfort. But in return, you will gain something priceless: liberation. Liberation is not freedom from pain. It is freedom within pain. It is the ability to walk through fire and not lose your essence. It is the capacity to sit with grief and still choose love. It is the power to witness suffering and still serve with an open heart. That is the strength of a chosen one, not in avoiding the fire, but in becoming the fire. And when you become the fire, nothing can consume you. Not opinions, not rejection, not failure. You become untouchable not because you're invincible, but because you're integrated. Because every part of you, light and dark, success and failure, joy and sorrow, has been brought into wholeness. And here's where the alchemy gets real. The same experiences that once shattered you begin to become your medicine. But the same traumas that silenced you become your message. The same pain that isolated you becomes your bridge to humanity. And suddenly, what once felt like a curse becomes your greatest gift. But this gift is not passive. It must be activated. You must choose to see your life through the lens of purpose, not punishment. You must choose to rise again and again, even when it hurts, even when it's lonely, even when it feels like no one sees you. Because the truth is, the universe sees you. And the more you show up as your true self, the more the path begins to open. Let me ask you something personal. What would happen if you stopped waiting for the pain to end and started asking what it's teaching you? What would happen if you stopped seeing your scars as shame and started seeing them as symbols of your strength? What would happen if you truly believed that your suffering was never meant to destroy you but to define you? That is the choice in front of every chosen one: to collapse under the weight of the world or to rise as a new world entirely. And rising doesn't mean you never fall. It means you fall consciously. It means you let the fall teach you. It means you trust that even in the descent, you are being guided. There is no spiritual awakening without spiritual unraveling. The ego must be dismantled. The false self must be exposed. The illusions must be shattered. This is the death before rebirth. And it is brutal. But it is also beautiful. Because in the ashes of who you thought you were, the truth begins to bloom. You are not your trauma. You are not your pain. You are not your past. You are the space in which all of that has occurred. You are the awareness behind every experience. And that awareness is divine. That awareness is unbreakable. That awareness is who you've always been beneath the suffering. So what now? You know the truth. You know that your suffering is sacred. You know that your pain has purpose. You know that you are chosen. But knowing is not enough. You must begin to embody it. That means walking differently, speaking differently, living differently. That means honoring your intuition, even when it makes no sense. That means trusting your path, even when it looks nothing like anyone else's. That means loving yourself fiercely, even when the world tells you not to. Because you are not here to be like everyone else. You are here to be you fully, unapologetically, courageously you. And that version of you, the real you, is what the world is starving for. Not the version that performs, or conforms, or hides, but the version that knows. The version that has been through hell and still chooses to love. The version that carries ancient wisdom in their bones and future visions in their eyes. The version that refuses to be silenced because they know their voice is a frequency of liberation. That version of you is not just a person, it is a portal. A portal through which new realities can be birthed. A portal through which the divine expresses itself. A portal through which others can find their own way home. So I ask you, with all the love in my heart, can you see yourself as that portal? Can you honor your journey as holy? Can you stop waiting for someone else to validate your path and begin walking it with conviction? Because the time of hiding is over. The time of playing small is over. The time of apologizing for your depth, your fire, your vision, it is over. This is your time. This is your moment. This is your awakening. And yes, it will still hurt sometimes. Yes, you will still have days where you want to give up. But now you have context. Now you have clarity. Now you know that you are not broken, you are being built. You are being sculpted by the divine hand of experience. And every trial, every tear, every test is part of your sacred design. You are not just living a life, you are living a prophecy. And that prophecy is unfolding in you, through you, as you. So breathe, stand tall, and remember, you are the storm and the silence. You are the fire and the healing. You are the wound and the cure. You are the question and the answer. You are not here to be saved. You are here to remember that you are the savior you've been waiting for. The world may not understand you, but your soul does. And your soul is calling you home. Now that you understand the sacredness of your suffering, that it is a form of initiation, that it is preparation for a higher calling, and that it is not punishment but purpose, let's go deeper into the responsibility and the reality of what it means to live as a chosen one. Because after the pain, after the awakening, after the realization, you are left with the question, what now? What do I do with everything I've been through? And this is where many fall into the trap. They think the journey ends with awakening. They think once you realize who you are, the struggle stops. But in truth, awakening is not the end. It is just the beginning. When a chosen one wakes up, the real work begins. The work of embodying what you now know. The work of becoming aligned with the truth you've uncovered. The work of bringing your inner transformation into outer action. This is where the intensity shifts from internal chaos to external responsibility. Because now you carry a light that must be protected, nurtured, and shared. And that's not easy, because the world doesn't always welcome the light. In fact, it often resists it. As a chosen one, your very existence is a challenge to the systems and structures that thrive on unconsciousness. Your presence disrupts patterns that have gone unchallenged for years. Your truth threatens illusions that people have built their identities around. Your energy awakens what others have spent their whole lives trying to suppress. And this is why, even after awakening, you may still feel isolated. You may still feel attacked. You may still feel like you don't belong. But this time you see it differently. You no longer internalize it as rejection, you recognize it as redirection. You no longer doubt your worth, you understand your power. You no longer seek permission, you move with purpose. And that shift changes everything. This is when you begin to walk as your higher self. Not perfectly, not without mistakes, but with devotion. You begin to live in alignment with your soul's mission. And that mission is not always glamorous. It's not always visible. Sometimes your mission is simply to hold your frequency in a room full of chaos. Sometimes it's to speak one sentence that shifts someone's entire reality. Sometimes it's to leave a situation that's draining your light, even if it costs you everything. This is the life of a chosen one. It's not about being famous. It's not about being followed. It's about being faithful to the truth that lives inside you, even when no one else can see it. Especially when no one else can see it. Because here's the raw truth. Being a chosen one is not about recognition. It's about responsibility. You carry a frequency that heals, a voice that awakens, a presence that transforms. And you didn't come here to hoard that light. You came to share it. But sharing it doesn't mean convincing others. It means embodying it so fully that your life becomes the message, that your choices become the sermon, that your energy becomes the invitation. And yes, that requires courage, because you will continually be asked to choose between comfort and truth, between popularity and authenticity, between fitting in and standing alone. And the chosen ones, we must always choose truth. Not because it's easy, but because it's who we are. This is the part of the journey where your suffering becomes your service, where your wounds become your wisdom, where your pain becomes your platform, not a platform for ego, but for elevation. Every experience you've survived, every shadow you've faced, every limitation you've overcome, it has all equipped you with a specific medicine. Medicine that only you carry. A medicine that someone, somewhere, desperately needs. And each time you share it, you liberate not only yourself, but others. That is the ripple effect of a chosen one's life. We don't just heal ourselves, we change the frequency of the spaces we touch. But let's be honest, this path is not without its temptations. There will be moments where the old life calls you back, where the ego wants to reclaim control, where you'll be tempted to numb, to hide, to pretend you didn't see what you saw. And in those moments you must remember, you are not who you were. You've outgrown the cage, you've outgrown the mask, you've outgrown the lie, and going back will never feel like home again. The only way forward is deeper into truth, deeper into integrity, deeper into freedom. And freedom, for the chosen one, is not about escaping the world. It's about engaging with it from a higher state of consciousness. So how do you sustain this path? How do you keep the light burning when the world feels cold? You root into the practices that nourish your soul. You cultivate silence. You honor your body. You speak with intention. You surround yourself with people who see your light and not just your labor. You stop betraying your intuition. You stop over-explaining your truth. You stop negotiating your worth. And you start living as though your life is sacred because it is. You start making decisions from your higher self, not your wounded self. You start trusting the unseen more than the opinions of the seen. You start choosing alignment over approval, peace over performance, liberation over limitation. And yes, you will still suffer. But now, the suffering is different. It's not the suffering of confusion, it's the suffering of consecration. It's the burning away of everything that is not your essence. And the more you surrender to it, the more it refines you, the more it initiates you into deeper levels of truth. And with every initiation, you become more of who you came here to be. Not just a human navigating life, but a soul embodying divinity. And that embodiment is the revolution. That embodiment is the prophecy. That embodiment is the fulfillment of everything you've endured. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to be whole. That means embracing every part of your journey, the mistakes, the regrets, the tears, the triumphs, the stillness, the chaos. All of it is part of your becoming. All of it is sacred. And when you stop judging your journey, you start blessing it. You start seeing the divine choreography behind every detour. You start realizing that nothing was wasted, that not a single moment, not a single wound. It all served your awakening. It all served your empowerment. It all served your evolution. So now I ask you the final question, the one that only your soul can answer. What are you going to do with your suffering? Are you going to let it define you? Or are you going to let it refine you? Are you going to let it close your heart? Or are you going to let it open you to a love so vast that it heals not just you, but everyone you touch? This is the choice every chosen one must make. To live small in the shadow of their pain, or to rise as a lighthouse in the storm. To shrink in fear, or to stretch into their divine destiny. To carry their suffering as a burden, or to wear it as a crown. Because that's what you are now. You are royalty. Not in the way the world defines it, but in the way the universe recognizes it. You have walked through fire and emerged golden. You have descended into darkness and come back with stars in your eyes. You have faced yourself and chosen love. And that makes you powerful beyond measure. That makes you unstoppable. That makes you free. So rise. Rise not in arrogance, but in alignment. Rise not to prove anything, but to be everything you are. Rise not with noise, but with presence. Because your presence is enough. Your energy is enough. Your truth is enough. And the world needs it now more than ever. We are in a time of great transition. The old is collapsing. The new is emerging. And the chosen ones are being activated to guide the way. Not with force, but with frequency. Not with fear, but with faith. Not with control, but with clarity. You are that guide. You are that frequency. You are that light. And your suffering was never in vain. It was never meaningless. It was the forging of your soul, the awakening of your gifts, the unlocking of your purpose. And now it is time to walk with power, and time to speak with truth, time to live with love, Time to lead with grace. Time to remember who you are, and to never forget again. Because the hidden truth about why chosen ones suffer is no longer hidden. It is revealed, it is real, it is radiant, and it is you. You are the living proof that suffering can birth sovereignty, that pain can unlock purpose, that darkness can lead to divine remembrance. And as you walk this path, stumbling, rising, healing, growing, know this: you are not alone. You never were, and you never will be, because you are part of something greater. A sacred lineage of souls who came to this planet not to fit in, but to transform it. Not to conform, but to create. Not to be saved, but to awaken. So go, be who you came here to be, and let the world feel your light.